Yeah. Oh, I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is my modded adventure. Now, last episode, we ended up building this blacksmith behind me and got into Ender.io, solving one of our problems, which was we needed a faster way to smelt things. Now, today, I want to solve another problem, and that's mob drops. Now, in my mod pack here, there are actually several ways that you can farm mobs. One of those ways is by using Ars Nouveau, and I honestly think it is one of the cleanest methods of farming mobs. It's really cool. Now, to be able to farm those mobs with Ars Nouveau, we are going to need a stockpile of source. And it does seem like, even though this farm is not huge, it is producing quite a bit of source. But we may have to increase our production as we go along. But this right here is exactly what we need. And we already have the splitter that will allow us to send source to another location, because we want to farm mobs with the Drigme. But there's a couple of caveats. Drigme can farm mobs directly, or they can be put inside this containment jar, which is fairly new to me, and I think it's a really interesting thing. Now, in order to contain these mobs, well, we're going to need a containment ritual. This is going to allow us to basically put mobs in a jar. Imagine farming a ghast, for example, with a Drigme. If you know what that is, basically it's a little mob that will harvest drops off of the mob. And well, if the mob is flying around and shooting fireballs at you, it's going to be a pretty messy situation. So that's where this ritual comes into play. So we should be able to get some source into this jar. I have my source link to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and place down this brazier. And I'm going to activate this containment ritual. So while it's activated, it's going to look for a containment jar, such as this one right here. And it's going to look for a mob that is within range. And as soon as it finds those things, it's going to put that mob inside this jar. And some mobs actually have some functionality while they're in a jar. Now, another question you might be having is, how do you get a mob to that location? Well, if we had a tier 3 spellbook, we could use a spell called Blink, and we could set a location for a mob to teleport to. But in our case, we have some extra mods in here that make this fairly easy. And we just need ourselves a yoinker. Yes, I said that right. So just type in yoink, and this is what we're going to be making. A mob yoinker. Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. It allows us to pick up mobs. We should be able to do this with ease. We just basically need to find the mob we want to put in here. And for example, place it right here. Now, what's one of the first mobs I would love to have in here? Drowned actually would be pretty nice. And we should be able to farm drowns for several things. Of course, rotten flesh, but they can also produce copper, which would be very nice. So let's go ahead and grab a drowned. So we shift right click, and as you can see, the mob is now captured, and all we're gonna do is bring it back home. Now, I believe for our first mob that we put in here, we actually get a discount on the source, but shortly after, it is going to cost significantly more. But look at that. As you can see, the mob goes right into the jar. And yes, we can pick up the jar with a break spell, and we now have ourselves a mob contained inside of a jar. Now, since it's night, I definitely want to go around collecting several different mobs. For example, a skeleton, Enderman. I don't know if I really need a zombie, but we could go ahead and get a zombie grabbed. The more mobs, the merrier. The more mobs that are around the Drigme, the happier the Drigme are, thus the faster they work. Now, this will even work with nether mobs, so bear that in mind. Honestly, I think instead of an Enderman, we should definitely use this Ender Mini. Look how adorable it is. Now, I definitely need to grab one of these guys to put in a jar. Ooh, I should even grab a Wither skeleton. Oh, definitely a Piglin for gold. Oh, and definitely a Wither skeleton. And now I can't forget the passive mobs, such as squid and, sheep and cows. Honestly, it feels like Pokemon at this point. I just gotta collect them all. This is what I'm doing. Good in there, squid. Is so derpy. Oh yeah, and I can't forget to yoink up some regular Wilden mobs. Oh yes, like this guy. And hopefully we get all of them. You're derped. There we go. There's the other one. And now I need one more. Oh, there you are. perfect. I think out of all of them, the chicken is the only weird one that we're going to have to kind of worry about, because chickens, oddly enough, they drop eggs from the jar. So the eggs will still drop into the world. So we'll have to figure that out. Now, all of that was cool, but we got to put it into action. But first, I need to build an area for this to exist in. And I was thinking it would look really cool to have an arm that's extended off the side of our tower that has what is going to look sort of like a source jar. I think that'll be pretty cool. Now, to make that all a little bit easier on me to do, I should probably make a tablet of flight. And this right here is going to give me create a flight around my base. It's really powerful, I know, but I think it's going to be totally worth it. And we should be able to use a brazier. I think we have, yeah, just one laying out here. We should be able to hook up another brazier that's going to link off of the one we already have over here. And this will be perfect because it doesn't use all that much source to keep the flight going, because it only activates the flight. It only uses source whenever we initially kick off. And you can see it just used 2%. That's it. And it's only going to use it again as soon as our timer of like 2 minutes runs off. All right. I know you're probably like, that is really powerful, Chosen. That is really overpowered. But I would say that you have to have had all of the infrastructure for source set up, and you would have had the resources to get there. And let's be fair, it only allows you to fly where you have this localized. So if you want to fly in the end, well, you would have to have some sort of way of bringing source with you for your temporary flight. So yeah, it has its ups and downs. For me, I'm going to call it a tool. So without further ado, let's get our build on. You know what? I'm calling it. That's about as close to a source jar look as I could possibly get. It looks very reminiscent to the source jar here. Of course, minus the gold. It does need more gold in it, but I just don't have the gold just yet. Hopefully we'll get that soon. And I do have a trapdoor that lets me get inside. Now, all I need to do is now set up the drigmies and put jars inside of the containment jar. Well, this is a source jar, but I still just need to get a little platform set up. And I'm thinking potentially using some sort of grass, maybe? Now, I still have one other task, and that is I need to get the drigmy made. And so to be able to make the drigmy, it's going to require a couple of items, 3 source gems, I do believe. And this is for each drigmy, by the way. And then it's going to require a single carrot, a single piece of wheat, an apple, a seed, and of course a fish. Now, all of these together, when we combine that, this will give us the actual drigmy that we need in order to get this farm up and running. So voila, we now have our drigmy charm. This is Moose Dance. It's a little friendly guy. Now you may notice, unlike all of the other ones, you can't place this down, and that's because it requires a very special block to place it on. And that special block is actually the mossy cobblestone. So all I have to do is click on that, and you're going to notice a bunch of particles because it's converting this into a hinge. And now we have a drigme. And if we can always go ahead and put more drigme on here as well. So we don't need to do anything crazy. We just need to place them on there. And they're working. Now, right now, there's no source that they're pulling from. So I'm going to actually set up some source here. We need to hop out of here. And I should have a jar. And all I want to do is just connect a jar to the corner here. And then I will say from you, just by right-clicking, to you. And that should, yes, fill that jar. And this should be able to draw from that jar. I think it's up to like 4 blocks away or something like that. Now, this is all well and good, but is it going to put items somewhere? Well, we have to actually provide it with a chest in order for the items to go somewhere. And I think for this, I want to actually use a barrel from the sophisticated storage mod, because this can get quite powerful. So I want to use a dark oak variant. And so we have a dark oak barrel. But the cool thing is we can then utilize all of these upgrades to do things like filter and all kinds of other stuff. So if we pop into our quest, we should actually get access to a few things. And immediately we get access to a thing that allows us to upgrade this barrel, which has this much storage by default, only 1 slot, immediately upgrade it to a diamond version, which has way more upgrades and quite a bit more storage. And I'm thinking we should put this storage here. And what we should do is have modular routers move this, move the items around. So if we have the storage up here, that's going to hold the mob drops. What we need to do is then set up a way to send items from here over to here. So let's set this up. I basically need to take a Cinder MK2 and I'm going to link it to this drawer. Now inside here, I do want to put the max upgrades, which are pretty cheap at this point, the max augments for our range. Now it should go up to 48 blocks, which should be able to reach. Of course, we need to pop back down here and I need to put a storage connected to this, such as a barrel. So now they have somewhere to send the items that they harvest. But I'm going to hook up the modular router down here, and that should pull the items out of the chest from the top. So I need a puller upgrade. And so pull from the top, and that will send the items into the buffer. And then of course, this will send the items over there. There's a couple of things I want to upgrade. I want to upgrade speed, but I also want to put a silence upgrade on it. That's going to basically hide the fact that it's sending items, because once the items do show up, we're going to see this like laser that shoots across. And I don't really want to see that, especially coming from this. So to silence things up, this also makes things not make sound, but to silence it up, we just put the muffler upgrades in there. And now we shouldn't see anything going on as far as that goes. And also these guys should be farming all of these mobs. I'm pretty excited. This all should technically be working, given a little bit of time. The only thing I'm worried about is source production. Will this be able to keep up? I don't necessarily think it will, but if not, we'll definitely worry about getting into more and more complicated source setups very soon. So just to make sure it's working, let's check, and we have mob drops. As you see, they are building up. We get mob drops and we get experience via these experience gems. Now, we could definitely convert this experience later on with other means, such as using mob grinding utils. And mob grinding utils might be a more advanced way of setting this mob farm up in the future, because we can also farm passive mobs quite extensively. Yeah, that's another option. But I think for now, this is more than fine. We are going to be generating ender pearls and all kinds of reliquary drops. I probably want to get regular endermen in here just to make sure I can get regular reliquary drops from them. As you see, this does farm those things. So it's going to be pretty nice once this is fully running and everything is going smoothly. Now, something that might help just make sure we sustain just enough is to move our sourceberry botany pot on top of the platform here, so that way the drops from this that it produced goes into the platform and also is another way to supply source berries. Every little bit counts. Now, something worth noting when it comes to this type of mob farm, if you want to see what mobs can produce what, it's probably best to find something like rotten flesh and then find the just enough resources tab, and you can click the mob section and we can actually look at all of the different drops that mobs produce. And I've noticed something. Creepers are very powerful. Creepers have a chance of dropping several things, specifically the creepers of certain types, like cave creepers, for example. They can drop these items or have a chance to. Some of them are very low, like emeralds and diamonds, but like iron, for example, and stone and gunpowder are pretty prevalent. There's even a beach variant, but all of these creepers seem to definitely be worth farming. Look at this guy. We'll farm dark oak logs this way. Here's a perfect example of an awesome creeper. This is a beach creeper. Oh, and this has a chance of like dropping all kinds of stuff like prismarine, even nautilus shells. This is definitely going to be a situation of like, gotta collect them all. Going to have to like try my best to collect as many mobs as possible. This is going to be a fun journey, but it's going to be something that has to be done over time. Look at this. We got that. Got ourselves a slime in a jar, an enderman, and a witch, which is all great things to have. Look at this right there. Bam. And I believe these guys should be able to reach all of these. If anything, we could just completely just surround them with it. And they should just all farm it. It's actually working really fast. Now, I will say this is way better than the other ways that I remember doing Drigmees in the past, where you had to literally place the mob in the world and you had to hope that it didn't despawn, didn't just up and disappear somehow. I love the containment jars. What a cool idea. What a fun and cool looking build. Wow, yes, that is super fitting. Connected to the side of our tower, a giant source jar that is farming mobs. Oh, what a fun journey this has been thus far. Now with that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And of course, if you did, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And also give this video a huge thumbs up. I appreciate you guys so very much. And now it's time to thank the amazing supporters of today's episode. That amazing thanks is going to go out to, Untitled over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible, going absolutely above and beyond. Thank you so very much for your continued support. And I hope, by the way, guys, you check out the Discord. discord.gg/ChosenArchitect. Join the amazing crew today. Share your inspirations, find other people to play with, or if you want to support, you can support and join our amazing community servers that we host. Be sure to check that out. Thank you guys so very much, and I hope to see you in the next episode. I will if you've subscribed. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye!